Hey everybody, my name's Didi and I am your host from miraclesofmind.tv, and we have a very special guest here today, Dr. Steve G. Jones. Hello and welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for being here. Thanks for having me, Didi.
Let me tell you a little bit about Steve. So Dr. Steve G. Jones is a clinical hypnotherapist, a neurolinguistic programming trainer, life coach, and law of attraction expert. He is the founder of the American Alliance of Hypnotists, the American Union of NLP, and the Global Sciences Foundation. Dr. Jones has his doctorate in education from Georgia Southern University and has studied psychology at Harvard. He created thousands of self-help recordings, programs, and certification courses to empower others. Now, I pulled a quote from your website by Tom Mankiewicz, the writer of the Superman the movie. It says, "If you want to make a positive change in your life, Steve G. Jones can make the difference. He did with me." So that's really powerful.
Yeah, I helped Tom stop smoking after 45 years, so he was very happy too. So the power of the mind, the power of hypnosis.
So tell us a little bit, how did you first become interested in hypnosis? Because I know you've got your education in education, actually. So.
Right, there you go. Well, initially I was in high school. My parents sent me to Riverside Military Academy in Gainesville, Georgia, because I was one of those bad kids. I wasn't really that bad, but they wanted me to have a better academic life and get my scores up and so forth so I could go to college. And so I didn't want to be there, and I started reading books about things in my spare time, like hypnosis, and I learned how to hypnotize. So I started hypnotizing my roommates.
Oh.
So they started coming to me. The athletes wanted to run faster. The smart kids wanted to study more efficiently. So all these years later, it's the same thing I was doing in the early 80s in high school, except now the athletes are the Dodgers and the smart kids are NASA.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic, fantastic. So what's the most rewarding part of doing hypnosis with people for you?
Well, getting to see the change. I mean, especially when something like smoking. I mean, my dad died of emphysema, so I'm always happy to see people stop smoking. And since that's, binary, either smoking or not smoking, it's easy to see the change because it's so shocking. They go from smoking to not smoking. I see people lose weight. I myself used hypnosis and lost 30 pounds over the last year. So I get to see these changes in myself and other people, and it really, it's just a job where you feel good every day.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you could sum up what you think it is that's holding most people back from being their best possible version of themselves, what would that be?
Definitely themselves. Their self-talk, the things they say to themselves, what they think they should have in their lives, what they think they're capable of, what they think they're worthy of, and all of those things are just thermostats that they set in their mind, usually in their youth, and they're just arbitrary limits. So if they can let go of those limits, then they're able to achieve. So we are truly our own worst enemy.
Okay, and how would you see that manifest in somebody?
Well, for example, if they let go of the amount of money they think they should be able to get, because maybe they have a subconscious thing that's telling them, oh, rich people are bad, or, if you make more money than some people think this subconsciously, they make more money than their parents or have a nicer house than their parents, and they're somehow being insulting. People get all kinds of interesting ideas about money. So you would see it manifest in the sense that they would let go of that, they would break through that, and not just in a temporary way, but they would be able to do that ongoingly so that they can create the wealth they want, or lose the weight they want to lose, or have the life or the relationship that they want to have.
Fantastic. Okay, so what are some of the most miraculous things you've seen in your career as a hypnotist, be it weight loss or maybe physical healing or law of attraction?
Okay. Well, I had a lady who came to me. Her name was Jen, and this was over 10 years ago now. And she was 180 pounds over her ideal weight. Mm-hmm. So not that she was 180 pounds, she was 180 pounds over her ideal weight. So this was a very overweight person, and her mother brought her there. I mean, it was the next stop before suicide. They had tried everything else and it didn't work. And they were giving hypnosis a shot. They figured, why not? So I worked with her for 5 sessions, worked on things in my weight loss protocol, such as stop eating this, start eating that, start exercising, start believing in yourself, get motivated, look toward a compelling future. So we worked through different sessions on this. Then I didn't hear from her for about a year or more. And I got a handwritten letter from her eventually. It was back when people used to write letters by hand. And It said that she had lost the weight that she wanted to lose. She had married the man of her dreams, which in her dream was like a 6'1" architect. They had, I think, a kid and a kid on the way. So not only was she alive, but she was thriving. So to me, that's, rather than being a testimonial for me, that's a testimonial of the power of hypnosis. And beyond that, it's just the resilience of the human spirit. I mean, people have this drive to get better and to live a powerful, the best life they can.
Oh, that's amazing. So any other miracles?
I've seen a lot of things. When I had my office in Beverly Hills, I got to see a lot of producers who are down and out come in, and I work with them, and they get back on top of their game. A lot of them I'm not allowed to. I don't have permission to mention their names, but I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of rags to riches type stories, or riches to rags, and then after seeing me, riches again. So I get to see a lot of that. I myself, having lost 30 pounds, I'm one of the miracles, the products of hypnosis. Yeah, and I didn't even realize I was overweight because I hide it pretty well, but I talked to a nutritionist and found out I was, so I got on it with hypnosis. So I get to see a lot of stuff like that, like a lot of weight loss and stopping smoking, and just getting back on track financially, not just for greediness, but for some of these people have families and they start businesses that help a lot of people. So I get to see a lot of good financial things happen in people's lives.
Well, speaking of financial, tell us about the law of attraction. What are the 3 keys to attracting things to oneself?
Well, I think that, as I wrote in my book with Frank Mangano, You Can Attract It, and John Asseroff wrote the foreword for us, I think that you have to figure out what you want, you have to figure out what you don't want, and you have to accept what you want into your life. I'd say those are the main keys. Figure out what you want, what you don't want, and then what you do want, you have to accept it because it's going to show up. And when it does show up, you have to accept it in, because people who haven't done the groundwork, who aren't prepared for success, who don't feel good about themselves, aren't going to accept that change. They're just going to say, oh, that's not for me, or oh, I don't deserve it, or oh, that can't be real.
Right?
Yeah, that thermostat's going to go off and bring them back down to where they feel comfortable. So my goal is always to let go of that thermostat and let them break through that so that they can have this new compelling life that they want.
So that thermostat would once again be those beliefs like, oh, wait a second, if all rich people are bad, so if I get money, that means I'm bad, but it's all unconscious.
Yeah.
Oh, it's there.
Right. It's like a thermostat in a room. When it gets too hot or too cold, it's going to kick in. It's going to keep it in that range. When people get too much money or too little money, it'll kick in, keep them in that range. Unfortunately, that range for a lot of people is a lot lower than they consciously want it to be, as you mentioned. Right. So we have to let go of that arbitrary range that they created from things they've been told from their youth and let it go. So we see it in money, we see it in weight, we see it in happiness. People have a range they feel comfortable within. We've got to get them out of that so they can have unlimited success.
Okay, so what's your favorite thing you like using NLP or hypnosis with?
I think recently, after being on the Millionaire Matchmaker and being written up in Forbes as a millionaire and being on Bravo's Below Deck as a millionaire and working with Joe Vitale to create all these millionaire products, people know me as that. So that's pretty much the brand these days. And I enjoy that a lot because what I'm seeing is not just a bunch of greedy people coming to me wanting to make more money. It's people who just are not good with money, and they've made a lot of mistakes in their lives. They've squandered a lot of money, and they're just not good at holding it together. And some of these people have families. So for me, that's the greatest thing that I see. People getting their financial act together, learning how to make and hold on to money and build that for their good and the good of others.
Wonderful. Yeah. So any limitations to what you think is possible with hypnosis or NLP?
I haven't found any limitations. Sometimes there are things that are better to talk to a medical doctor about. If people have a medical issue, I always say go to your medical doctor first about that. See what they say, follow what they say, and then you can use hypnosis as a backup or, in addition to that. There are certain, I get questions a lot about, what about brain damage, can that be fixed? Well, even in the brain, and a lot of brain scientists will admit this too, they really don't know everything about the brain. And one thing they do know is that new neural pathways can actually form. So there's more than one way to skin the cat when it comes to the brain. It can form other ways of doing things. So even things that we used to think were limitations are not necessarily limitations. So I'm sure, as with anything else, there are practical limitations. There are also practical and legal considerations where I have to refer someone to a medical doctor. But to get down to it, I really think that there are very few limitations when it comes to what the mind can do.
Amazing. So you have a lot of products out there, thousands if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What's some of the feedback you get on your work or your products?
So every now and then we send out a survey and we ask for testimonials, and we also ask for, we just want some honest feedback. Rarely do we hear anything negative from someone. We get a lot of positive, success stories that I was able to put on my website as testimonials. We get, some from the bigwigs like, John Asseroff and let's see, Bill Harris from The Secret, John Asseroff from The Secret, Joe Vitale from The Secret, Tom Mankiewicz, who wrote Superman the movie. So we hear a lot of that. We also hear from just regular folks who just want to do regular things. They just want to stop this or start that, when they want to stop smoking or start a business or whatever they're working on. We hear a lot of that. So most of what we hear is really good, which also makes me feel good about what I do.
I was going to say, that must feel really good.
Yeah, it's rare to find a job like this where it's all about positive stuff, and most people are saying positive stuff back to you. It just makes you feel great.
Yeah, and the thing is that not everybody can make it into your office. So
Right.
for those of you who are around the world that may want to purchase your products, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So leave our audience with something that you believe is truly possible when we use the power of our minds.
I believe that whatever that dream is that you had when you were a kid, that you wanted to do, that you kind of let go of because life got in the way and practicality got in the way, I think that's achievable with your mind. And I think that's unique for everyone. So people watching this, whatever that is for you, whatever your unique dream is that you wanted to be or do, that's still possible. That's something that you can do. And that's something that you can use the power of your mind, the power of your subconscious mind to make happen.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being on our program.
Thank you, Didi. I appreciate it.
Great.